Before we talk about finding the inverse of this function, let's think about what this function is telling us to do. So down here I have a visual that is supposed to represent a function machine. So you put a number in, so it's going to go in on the side, and the first thing we do to that number, we'll call that number x, is we're going to subtract 2. So the first operation, minus 2, okay, we get a number here. Then we're going to take that number and divide the whole thing by 3 to get our end results. The inverse is what happens if you put a number in at the end of the function machine and it actually goes through backwards. Those operations are called the inverse. So if we want to undo what the original function has done, the first thing to undo dividing by 3, we're going to multiply by 3 to get back to this number, and then to undo subtracting 2, we're going to add 2. So if we think about our new function for the inverse, we're going to use the special notation. It looks like f of x, but we're going to put a little -1 there in between. This time, the x in this function is going to represent a number that we put in at the end of the function machine. First thing we do is multiply it by 3, so let's write 3x, and then we add 2 onto the end. So that is our final answer for the inverse. Now, this method is not always easy to show. It doesn't always work. This is a really nice, easy function. As things get more complicated and more complex, we're going to need a more formal method that will work for us every time. And so that method goes like this. From the start, our first step is going to be to replace f of x with the variable y. So we're going to write this as y equals x minus 2 over 3. Second step is going to switch x and y. So they're going to switch places. So we have x equals y minus 2 over 3. And then the third step is to solve for y. So to get y by itself, we might start by multiplying both sides by 3 to get these 3's cancel. And then our final step to get y by itself, let's go ahead and add 2 to both sides. And you'll see we end up with exactly the same thing we did thinking about the function machine, 3x plus 2.